A rabbi, a priest, and an atheist smoke weed together and talk about religion. You may have seen this video, it's viral. We're gonna talk about it. We can't show the video, but we have photos. So first of all, we have Rabbi Jim Murrell, and he begins the video by saying he's there to, quote, experience one of God's creations. He also then disclosed that he hadn't smoked weed for a really long time. He never really was a weed smoker. And then we have the priest. The priest is Reverend Chris Schuler, who he made waves, if you remember, over a Facebook video saying that he's pro-marijuana, even though he doesn't smoke marijuana. He said the last time that he smoked marijuana was back in high school, but he's still pro-weed and he understands all the benefits that go along with marijuana. And then finally, we have an atheist, and the atheist is self-described, quote, as a conservative homosexual, unquote, named Carlos. I'm gonna read a part here from the Daily Dot, the way that they describe the video. They say, quote, lest you think this is a video where two old guys try to convince a young man to come back to the church, the conversation feels much more like a free-form discussion about universal truth and the nature of God. So like basically the same shit everyone talks about when they're super high. So true. It's really, I thought it was a really cool video.
It was a great video.
And this is from, if I didn't mention earlier, Strange Buds. They had that video years ago that went viral with the three grandmothers. And since then, they've had a whole series with it on cut.com where they had like, you know, retired police officers, and they have these strange buds come together and smoke weed, and really interesting conversations come out of that. Thoughts, 5 words or less.
Let's do this, Dad.
Pot, I mean, God is good.
Hail to the Most High.
Can I join you, Grace?
Yeah.
Yes.
That'd be amazing.
Can we please?
Yeah, let's
Have I met your dad or just your mom?
Sorry, what?
Have I met your dad?
I don't know if you've met my dad.
I
definitely met your mom.
love
She's
her
adorable.
dad and her mom.
If you guys don't know, my dad is an Episcopal priest, and the priest in this video is also an Episcopal priest, and the Episcopal Church has been known to be one of the more open-minded denominations of the Christian faith with regards to homosexuality and marijuana use. What's interesting is that my dad falls into a lot of the same categories as the priest in this video, where the priest keeps on calling marijuana dope. And the atheist is like, please stop calling it dope, because dope means like hard stuff
drugs
today.
yeah.
And my dad would do that too. He'd be like, when you're smoking smack. Oh my God, that's not what it is, like smoking dope or whatever. And my dad has definitely never done a drug in his life.
Would he be open to it?
I don't know. I'm hoping he'll watch this video and think about it.
Oh my God, we could do it here.
I don't
Get
know.
high up Pop
'Cause
Trigger,
he
so
also
dope.
had some friends with very bad drug experiences, and I think that for them, marijuana was absolutely, quote unquote, a gateway drug.
It still is.
So he has this negative connotation with marijuana, but for me, living in California and seeing how it can be regulated at the state level, at least for now, I can't imagine that that's an experience that I will share in, at least at this point in my life, because I like weed and I don't think that it's scary, but for my dad, it was definitely like a scary thing. Yeah.
This video for me was a lot of things. One, it was entertaining. 2, it was fascinating, and 3, it was very relatable because you have the God, what is wrong with me on mornings? You have the rabbi.
Sorry that we shoot this early.
Murrell, and then you have, who was like, has the patience of a saint, very, very docile. Then you have Schuler, who's like your friend's dad,
He is.
super cool guy, witty, but tread lightly because he means business. And in this case, he's a man of the cloth. And then you have the complete antithesis of the two men, Carlos, the atheist,
How sexy
gay,
was his voice?
black, yeah, amazing.
Loved his voice. Loved his voice.
His voice was great, and he was just so real. But what was relatable too is, if anyone who has smoked weed knows that if you're too zealous with that first hit, you're gonna burn yourself. But also what I thought was really cool about the conversation was no one tried to proselytize either person into believing what they thought was right. It was just a conversation, as he said, of what you talk about when you get high, and also when Carlos talked about if there's a God. The questions he asked are a lot of questions that people who are questioning their faith, or at least who I've come in contact with, ask, like, why is there death of children? Why does HIV exist? Why do all these wonderful, oh my God, horrible things happen if there is someone up in the sky? Since we are obsessed with people in the sky that have powers, why do these things happen? And at the end, I loved how it was more of a come as you are, be as you are conversation versus let me try to convert you to this, and then we're all cool. And then when they blessed him with the ash from the weed,
amazing. He's like, it's so blue, it's so nice.
They were so stoned, but they coexisted through weed. It was awesome. Brett, what did you think when you watched it?
I like the atheist guy.
Bothered you?
Like, I hold people to, I'm not an atheist because I think I don't go even as far as to make absolute statements about that stuff. Which I think Carlos kind of did. He's like, I just don't know anything.
But he
I don't
grew
know
up
everything.
super religious. I think that's important for people to know.
And I just liked how everyone by the end was vibing so much together and having a good time. And if you paid attention to specific phrasings, like the rabbi saying, like, I know your God isn't a big thing to you, but it's a big thing to me. Is it cool if I use that term in this blessing to you?
Right.
There's a lot
And
of
that
respect.
guy was like, oh, that makes sense. Thank you for doing that. I do think that like it seems like the question toward any potential participants of will you come here and smoke weed and see what it's like weeds out the more judgy people, so to speak. So the three that you would end up with are with the exception of the atheist, the two religious figures you'd end up with would already have passed a certain filter of the kind of person who would be willing to smoke weed with someone else.
They're already gonna be open-minded.
The atheist started off, the atheist started off the most annoying to me just because I bet his like guard was up going in with like two super religious folks. But what was cool is by the end they're all just like, yeah, man, we're all right.
But do you blame him though for having?
He had his guard up. Talk about why.
Well, he had his guard up, and you could tell that he'd already had his arguments ready to go before anyone had really put him to it. And I like that they have the timestamp on the video too. So like 25 minutes in, and the atheist is talking about like, well, what about this, and this. 35 minutes in, and the atheist is still going, and then you have the rabbi and the priest just listening, because I think this is a great example of one of my favorite like quotes from the Bible is preach the gospel always, use words when necessary, which to me is like just use your actions to show kindness and to listen and compassion and empathy. That's really what the whole, whether you believe it or not, that's the whole message that I as a Christian choose to believe. So that's what we really see exemplified with these two religious figures, just listening and showing compassion. And this guy, this atheist who had been vilified by the church for being homosexual, was just venting to them. And he and the priest and the rabbi were just being like, we're just here, we're here. And that hurt that the church caused you is wrong.
Because he was young.
They should not have done that and cast you out like that.
Right, he was young and he grew up with faith, so you can imagine that was probably a portion, generally speaking, of his identity if he grew up that way. And then to be denied by the church when they found out that he, was gay, that's so sad. So he did have a wall up.
Absolutely, and if you listen to the conversation, he said at 14 he was excommunicated from the church, and then he did his own research, and also though too, I felt that I think it was Rabbi Miro who said that, well, believe it or not, through what you've gone through, you do have faith. You are he said something to the effect of, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, but when they were having a conversation, he had said something about, well, the way you grew up is showing that you still do have faith in God, and that what has happened to you has brought you to this point here. Something
you're
along those lines.
Of faith and you're spiritual is kind of what he said.
Exactly, and so it was just, I didn't think that
there's a connection.
I didn't think Carlos. I didn't get that he was defensive at first. I mean, it was edited.
He was just speaking his truth.
Exactly, and again, at the end of the day, it was still a very, very cool view into how weed is bridging the gap and bringing people together.
Yeah, it was good. So please check out, will we have the link underneath the video, Amir? Yeah, so check out the video and then share your thoughts, and we'll see you next time.